Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The name of the topic is applications of cross product. Applications of a cross product. So we'll start with one of very simple and basic application. Applications of cross product. And the very first application is finding area of a triangle. The very first application is finding area of triangle. Finding area of a triangle. For example, consider this as O and this point as A, and this is point B, and this is a triangle, okay? And this is the angle theta. OA is a vector starting from O and ending at A, and OB is a vector starting, OB is the position vector of point B. Now we know from our knowledge of O-level trigonometry, high school knowledge, that the area of triangle is equal to 1/2 into OA into OB sine theta. If you remember it, it's OA, the magnitude of OA, multiplied with the magnitude of OB. Understand this thing? And then the sine of the angle involved, the sine of the angle in between. But we can recognize it as OA cross OB. Since area is a scalar quantity, so we are not concerned with the vectorial effect of the cross product. We'll just take the magnitude of this. We are just interested in the magnitude of the cross product. So OA cross OB, and then its magnitude, and then dividing it by 2 can help us calculate the area of a triangle. Now, the question is that A is 6 minus 721. The coordinates of A in 3 dimension are 6 minus 721, and the coordinates of B are 3, 2, minus 5. And the question is calculate the area of the triangle OAB. Calculate area of triangle OAB. Calculate the area of the triangle OAB. Now what we can do is that we can write OA like this in the form of column vector 6, 7, 21. And then we can write OB 3, 2, minus 5. And then we can calculate OA cross OB. Without using determinant, we can directly do it. Minus 7 into minus 5. Minus 7 into minus 5. Minus 2 into 21. And then 6 into 2. Minus 7 into 3. Minus for the second entry. 6 into minus 5 minus 21 into 3. And when we simplify it, it's 35 minus 42 minus 30 minus 63. 12 plus 21. And then 35 minus 42 is equal to minus 7. Minus, it's plus 93. And over here it's 33. This is OA cross OB. The magnitude of OA, the magnitude of OA cross OB is equal to minus 7 square plus 93 square plus 33 square under root. And then area of the triangle is equal to 1 by 2 of OA cross OB, and that makes it like this. 7 square under root 7 square plus 93 square plus 33 square. So we have, our answer is, we arrive at 98.93, and when we divide it by 2 is equal to 49.465 units. But this is how we can calculate the area of a triangle. I hope you understand it. I hope you understand
Yes, sir.
it. Okay. Now, in this particular case, origin was involved. But now there is another question in which A has a coordinates of 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 2, and for B, we have -4, 9, 3, and C is equal to 2, 0, 7. Okay. Now, AB, they have asked us to find the area of the triangle ABC. Find area of triangle ABC. Triangle ABC. So what we do is that for the area of the triangle ABC, we will use this formula, AB cross AC magnitude. Okay, this is A, this is B, this is C. Okay, and then you know that you will have to find AC and AB, and then you'll find their cross product. Now, AB is equal to what? AB is equal to OB minus OA. And you know, OB is equal to -493. OA is equal to 002. -491. Okay. And AB becomes equal to -491. And now we calculate AC. AC is equal to OC minus OA. And AC is equal to 207. OA is equal to 002. And it's 205. This is AC. Okay. Now we calculate the cross product of AB and AC. We write AB over here like this, -491. And for AC, 205. And for those who have not yet practiced the cross product, art of cross product, for them, I repeat the whole procedure. Now, in order to calculate the first entry of this cross product, you put a line on this entry. You do not use this, and find the determinant of the remaining numbers. Okay. So this gives you 9 multiplied by 5 minus 1 into 0. Once you are done with the first entry, for the third entry, you will put a line on the third entry of AC and AB and calculate the determinant of the remaining. This will give you the third entry of the product. And then once you have calculated this one, you put a line on the second entry and you put a negative sign first of all. As you know, you used to put a negative sign on the second entry when you used to open a determinant with the help of the first row. Similarly, over here, you'll put a negative sign in the second entry. Okay, now you multiply this with this and then this to get -4 into 5 -1 into 2. And when you simplify it, it's 45 -20 -2 -22 and then 22 with the due to the negative, and it's minus 18. Okay. Now you can calculate the magnitude of AB cross AC. When you calculate the magnitude of this, it's 45 square plus 25 square plus 18 square under root. Okay. And then area of the triangle is equal to 1 by 2 AB cross AC. And it becomes equal to 45 square plus 22 square plus 18 square over 2. I hope you understand it. Now you can calculate your you can calculate the rest of the areas that are asked in this question, in this exercise. They have also introduced another topic relating to the area of the triangle. Normally, this particular point is hardly asked in the paper, but nevertheless, we'll try to explain it. And this is the volume of a tetrahedron. The volume of a tetrahedron, use of cross and dot product to calculate. We will not do much practice of this because I haven't seen any question of this. We'll just mention it. Use of cross product and dot product to calculate volume of tetrahedron. What is a tetrahedron? This is O, this is O, and this is O, this is A, this is B, okay? This is a two-dimensional triangle, okay? And then C is somewhere at the top, okay? C is at the top, and this forms a pyramid. This forms a pyramid. Let me redraw it for you. Like this. It's a kind of a pyramid with the OAB lying on the base. With OAB lying on the base. This dark region is the base of this pyramid, okay? And the height of the C above the plane containing O, A, and B is given by H, okay? Now you know from your O-level knowledge that volume of such kind of pyramids was given by volume is equal to 1 by 3 base area into height. Base area into height. We used to do it like this, okay? So how will we do it? Well, this is a very interesting point. How will we do it? Base area into height. How will we convert this simplified formula of O-level into a system of cross and dot product? Yes. How will we convert this formula into dot and cross product? Okay. The very first thing that I would like to mention over here is that first of all, let's see what H is. Okay, what is H? H is the height of C above the plane containing O, A, and OB. Okay, H is the height of C above OA and O plane containing OA and B. Okay. Okay. Now, just revise your knowledge of O dot product. If you remember, OA dot OB used to equal. We defined it like this. like this. And we taught it like this, that OA multiplied by OP cos theta. We multiplied it like this. We understood it like this. We made our concept like this, that magnitude of OA multiplied to the component of OB parallel to OA. This is how we understood it. It means that if this is OB and this is OA, and if this theta is the angle between them, then the dot product OA dot OB means the product of this red line, the length of this red line multiplied to the length of this red line multiplied to the length of this black line. That was it. The magnitude of O multiplied to the component of OB parallel to OA. We can also think it like this, that we can think it in reverse as well. We can say that it's OB multiplied to OA cos theta. So that means magnitude of OB multiplied to component of uh, component of OA parallel to OB. We can understand it like this. And now if we think like this, then we can calculate that this purple line is the component of OA parallel to OB. So what we can do is that we can multiply the length, this purple line length, to this black line, okay? And we will get the dot product. This is how we calculate the dot product, and this is how we understand the dot product. This is how we understand the dot product, okay? In the previous case, you have seen that a vector can represent a area under special circumstances. For example, you know that OA cross OB magnitude was representing, although that till let's say that we haven't calculated its magnitude. OA cross OB. You know, OA cross OB is a vector, but this vector OA cross OB, although being perpendicular to the plane containing OA and OB, although that this vector is perpendicular to the plane containing OA and OB, but the length of this vector is equal to the area of this parallelogram. You know, if you multiply OA cross OB, although that it's a vector, you know, which is very much onoid of the plane containing OA and OB and wants no connection from them, and it's perpendicular to them, OA cross OB, but yet the length, this blue line length, is equal to this yellow or orangish area, which is represented by these parallel lines, okay? And when we calculate its magnitude, it gives us this purple area, this area which I am now which will be, you know, sooner, which will be converted to which will be given a red color, okay? It will be given red color, okay? And when we divide it by 1 by 2, when we multiply it by 1 by 2, it gives us the area of this triangle, okay? So we can say that a vector, the length of the vector or the magnitude of the vector sometimes represents the area, okay? And it can represent area. The length of the vector can represent an area. Now we move on to our in order to introduce this concept over here, You see, base area is equal to what? The black area is equal to 1 by 2 OA cross OB. OA cross OB. We remove its magnitude sign for temporarily. You know that OA cross OB, OA cross OB represent this area, okay? Of the parallelogram, which is represented by the points OADB, okay? The cross product OA cross OB, OA cross OB represents the area of the parallelogram. And when we introduce 1 by 2 over here, it represents the area of the triangle OAB, okay? Since we haven't calculated its magnitude, it's still a vector. And this is a kind of is a vector which is perpendicular to the plane containing to the plane containing OA and OB, okay? Now, if you just multiply this vector with this height h, you will get the volume of this pyramid. Okay, if you multiply the height h with this purple vector and divide it by 2, you will get the volume of this pyramid. Okay, but height h is, the component of height h is actually the component of OC. Height h is actually the component of OC parallel to OA cross OB. So if we calculate the dot product of OC with OA cross OB, we will multiply OA cross OB with this h. And when we divide it by 2, we are actually multiplying the base area with the height h, the red height h. And when we further multiply it by 1 by 3, we calculate the volume of this tetrahedron. Now, our final formula becomes equal to this. OA cross OB, we do not calculate its magnitude. We want to keep it as a vector because only a vector can have a dot product with OC. So we haven't calculated its magnitude. This blue expression OA cross OB represents this purple vector, okay? And when it is a dot product of OC and this purple vector is calculated, it gives us this value, base area into height. And then when we finally multiply it with 1 by 6, we are able to calculate the volume of tetrahedron. So the formula for calculating the volume of tetrahedron or volume of a pyramid or tetrahedron is equal to 1 by 6 OA cross OB multiplied by dot OC. Okay, we can do a little practice with this. We can do a little practice of this, and we can do the question in exercise 6A. In exercise 6A, the question number 7 refers to this kind of questions. Okay, we will not do much questions of this. We'll just do only one question because we just want to have an idea of this kind of question. Okay, question number 7A. Tetrahedron. Determine the volume of the tetrahedron OABC, or we can also call it a pyramid. its one point is minus 241. The second point B is 810 and C is 56 minus 7. Okay. Now we calculate first of all OA. OA is equal to minus 241. OB is equal to 810 and OC is 56 minus 7. Okay. We will calculate OA cross OB. We will calculate OA cross OB. Okay, OA cross OB. 4 into 0 minus 1 into 1 minus minus 2 into 0 minus 1 into 8 and then minus 2 into 1 minus 4 into 8. And when we simplify it, it becomes OA cross OB upon simplification turns into minus 1 plus 8 minus 32 minus 34. Okay, this is OA cross OB. No, OC is 56 minus 7 and we want to calculate OA cross OB dot OC. So this is equal to minus 1 8 minus 34 dot 567. Okay, dot product. And when you calculate dot product, minus 1 into 5 plus 8 into 60 plus 7 into minus 34 minus 5 plus 48 and then 7 into 34 minus 238 plus 5 minus
सर 7 के साथ नेगेटिव साइन था
जी
सर 7 है ओसी
अच्छा
वाला
ठीक
उसके साथ नेगेटिव साइन था
थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर हेल्पिंग मी minus and okay we can put a negative sign over here. This makes it plus 28. That's perfect. 238 plus 48 minus 5. It is equal to 281. Okay. And then we multiply it by 1 by 6 into 281. It is divided by 6. It is equal to 46.833 units squared. So in this way, we can calculate the volume of a tetrahedron. Now we move on to our second topic, and that is the vector equation of a line. We move on to our second topic, and that is the vector equation of a line. I'll just briefly mention it because you have done it in your P3. Okay. I just give you a question. You start solving it yourself, and I'll start solving it over here. Then we'll finally compare our answers. Okay. So this is an aeroplane moving like this. The red line represents the path of an aeroplane. This blue line, sorry, this blue line is the path of an aeroplane. Okay. The aeroplane is moving in a perfectly straight line. The aeroplane is moving in a perfectly straight line. And this is our control tower. There is a building in the airport which keeps track of all aeroplanes. And we declare this control tower as O, okay? And A is the point where control tower detected the aeroplane, that it was moving, okay? So A was, and the position of A was, say, 5, 10, and 0.3. 5 was its distance along x-axis along the ground. 10 was also its distance. Let's say that 5 10 and 0.3 are in kilometers. So the control tower detected the aeroplane at point A. And at point A, we call this as R0, or the initial position vector of the aeroplane, okay? The aeroplane was moving like this. These are the wings of the aeroplane, okay? I can't draw a very perfect picture of it, but still this is an aeroplane moving, okay? The velocity of aeroplane in this direction was given by 0.5 I, 0.4 J, and 0.02 K. Okay, this was the velocity vector. And t seconds after passing A, the aeroplane was at a position point P. And this R was its position vector. OP represented the position vector of aeroplane after t seconds after passing through point A. Okay. Now you know that AP is distance traveled by aeroplane, or it's the distance displacement of aeroplane, distance or displacement. And you know that AP is equal to times velocity. And AP is equal to times velocity, and velocity is 0.5, 0.4, and 0.02. And it's T over here. So AP is equal to this. Now we know that OP, which is a general position vector of the aeroplane as it moves on the path which we have turned red, okay? And black vector represents its initial position vector when the control tower first located it and started monitoring its motion, okay? Although that it was moving previously, but it came to the radar of control tower when it crossed the point A, having coordinates of 5 kilometer along x-axis and 10 kilometer along y-axis, x and y-axis being on the ground, and xy plane is the horizontal plane, and 0.3 on was its height, 0.3 kilometer, or you can say 300 meter. Now OP is equal to OA plus AP. OP is equal to OA plus AP, and OP is equal to R, and OA is equal to 510.3, and AP is equal to T times the velocity vector, and it becomes equal to 510.3 plus T times 0.5, 0.4, 0.02. This R represents the position vector, this blue vector, the position vector of aeroplane P from the control tower O, and the red is the path that it follows. And this velocity vector, which I am showing by a green vector, I'm turning its color to green. This velocity vector was acting as a direction vector because the path was parallel to this velocity vector. So this is how we obtained the position vector, a general position vector of the aeroplane. And the knowledge that we use is called the vector equation of a line in 3 dimension. Over here, T is a multiplying factor. Although that we take T as time, okay? Now you can interpret it like this. For example, this
सर ये जो
red line.
टी है ये क्या चीज है?
G. Yes, please say it again.
टी क्या है सर?
T time in seconds.
अच्छा ठीक है सर.
T time in second, beta. Okay, after the aeroplane crossed the point A. After the aeroplane crossed the point A, beta. Okay. Now V is the vector. Okay, V is the velocity vector, which is acting as a direction vector. It's shown by a green color. I turn its color to green just to create a similarity with our previous working. Now at t is equal to 1 seconds.
सर ये
This
टी को
is exact.
पैरामीटर पे तो कह सकते हैं ना कि टी पैरामीटर है
Yes, it's a
टी को
parameter.
पैरामीटर
Right now, since I am just specifying the path of an aeroplane, it is due to this reason that I am saying that it's t is time in seconds. However, when we will generalize this concept to a three-dimensional vector equation, then t is parameter. Yes, t is a parameter which is controlling the motion, controlling the points on the line. Okay, for example, when t is equal to 1, this vector AP1 is equal in length to the velocity. And when t is 2, AP2 is equal to twice of velocity. And when time t is equal to 3, P3. So this is how we can calculate the position vectors of the aeroplane as it moves. And if we want to calculate that position vector at t is equal to 2.5, it will give us this position vector. And at 2.54 this, 2.3 this, at 2.2 it is this point, and at 2.1 it is this point. At t is equal to 0.5 we move on this point which I've just shown by a dot. And at t is equal to 0 we are at a. And at t is equal to -1 we are behind. We are v meters or v kilometers behind a. Okay, so that means that the t parameter helps us to locate all points on the line. This is the knowledge of P3, and expect all of you to know it well, because you need to be too good in P3 vectors in order to understand the vectors of, or in order to perfect, or in order to master the vectors of further mathematics. Okay, we move on, we extend our ideas. Let's do another equation, another question. You know, as in O level, you know that you needed a gradient and a point in order to calculate the equation of line. In A levels, you need a vector parallel to the line, which is called direction vector, which is equivalent to gradient. And then you need a point on the line. You need a point on the line, and then you can find the equation of the line. For example, if they give you
सर या आप सर ये रिपीट कर सकते हैं ये जो आपने बोला
जी मैं भी
ये
say it again.
इक्वेशन वाली बात
जी इक्वेशन देखो यार, जिस तरह O level में, in O levels, you know, whenever they ask you to calculate the equation of whenever they ask you to calculate the equation of a line, so you used to you needed a gradient and you needed a point on the line. That was your two requirements to find the equation of plane. Okay, equation of the line. If they've given you gradient and haven't given you the point, you can't find the equation of line. And if they've given you a point but haven't given you a gradient, you cannot find the equation of line. So you needed both of these, and you together, using these two, you could find the equation of line by proceeding like this and then inserting these values. Okay, so C is equal to what? 7 minus 36. C is equal to minus 29, and then your equation becomes y is equal to 6x minus 29. Or you can also use y minus y1 is equal to gradient x minus x1. So y minus 7 is equal to 6x minus 6. Y minus 7 is equal to 6x minus 36. And y is equal to 6x minus 36 plus 7. Y is equal to 6x minus 29. So you can find, you used to calculate the equation of line like this. Over here in A level, you need a vector. You need a point on the line. You need a point on the line. Say that it's 1, 1, 5. And then you need a vector parallel to the line. You need a vector parallel to the line, which is called the direction vector. Which is called what? Direction vector. For example, we can have this as our direction vector 1, 2, 3. And then, this O is the reference point. This point, we call it A, from which the line is passing. We are calculating the vector equation of this red line. Okay, we are calculating the vector equation of this red line. This blue vector is just acting as the gradient. This blue vector, which is direction vector, is doing the job of gradient. Okay, and then P is a general point. P is a general point on the line. OP is its position vector, represented by R. And we know that OP is equal to OA plus AP. Now we replace OP by R and OA by its coordinates. We write it in the column vector form. And AP is a vector. AP is a vector which is parallel to D. AP is a vector which is parallel to D, and AP is equal to lambda times D. Where lambda is a scalar multiple, and R is equal to 115 plus lambda times 1, 2, 3. This is the vector equation of a line in 3 dimensions. This is vector equation of line in 3 dimensions. Okay. If lambda is, we write A over here as 115, and we drag this direction vector Oh, I'll have to redraw this direction vector. I want to draw the direction vector in such a way that it should start from A. Okay. Okay, now like this. When lambda is 1, the point P is over here. I've shown it by P1. When lambda is 2, P is somewhere over here, which I have indicated by P2. When lambda is 3, P is at position P3. When lambda is 4, P is at P4. And when lambda is 5, P is at P5. And when lambda is 1.5, P is at a position which I am showing by P1.5. And then 1.4, 1.3, 1.2, 1.1, 0.5, 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, 0.1, 0, -1. -1 will be somewhere exactly equal and opposite to this direction vector. And I represent it by P -1. That means as lambda changes and takes on different values, R traces the line, okay? As lambda changes and takes different values, R moves like this. R moves like this. And R traces out the line. When lambda is decreased or moved and increased in negative, R moves towards left. And when lambda increases in positive, R moves towards right and traces out a line. When we join all these heads of the R, we get that back line, okay? So in this way, we can imagine a vector equation in 3 dimensions. Okay. Now there are various ways in which we can show this line. We can write it like this. We can write it like this. We can also combine all the points which have I in common and which have J in common. And then this is R. We can also show it like this. 1, 1, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Like this. And we can even write it like this in the coordinates form, comma 1 plus 2 lambda. Many teachers write it like this, and they call R as the coordinates of a general point. They declare R as general point. This helps the students to identify the coordinates of R as the coordinates of a general point. And then they can easily solve many questions, okay? And if I replace R by X, Y, Z, then 1 plus lambda, 1 plus 2 lambda, 5 plus 3 lambda, and equating all entries, we can write it like this. These three equations together are called parametric equations of a line in 3 dimensions. Parametric equations of line in 3 dimensions. And if we make lambda the subject, and equate all the lambdas of the 3 equations, we obtain Cartesian equation. Cartesian equation of line in 3D. But this was just a summary of your knowledge of P3. Okay. Now we will inshallah ta'ala tomorrow start our exercise 8B, and we'll do other aspects of we will deal with the topics in extensive detail, and we will bring the concept of cross product into our discussion, and we will appreciate the power of cross product. I stop the recording over here.